Welcome to another episode of my Motortown playthrough. Today we are back on the Hoki Hoshi server again. What can I say? I mainly play on this character right now and I made it specifically for this server, and also there are a few nice things on here that I wouldn't have in single player, so here we are. Today it's just going to be me doing some racing, quote unquote. We recently worked out an event route for something that Hoki wants to host, and yeah, I made the route and I'm just going to do a little dry run, seeing how far I can get, how fast the car is, and if everything is how I want it to be. So let's get it going. The route is stupidly long for this game. We have a checkpoint limit of 50, and yeah. We are going from Dessa down to Senho, through a squiggly line road up and to Baiyang. Then around over here through Migium, coming back up on the coastal road, going across the bridge to the other island. Then onto the dirt part over here, into Jeju, back and around through the Toge road, onto the highway bridge again, and then finishing everything off with one final lap around Anson Raceway. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, let's go. It's gonna be a long one, but I mean, my videos are never really all that short. And I want to see how well the car does, which is upgraded to work for the event. There are going to be a few more additional things in the event itself, which I'm not going to be including here. There are going to be multiple stops along the event route where you need to perform some little tasks here and there. So, yeah. This is just the pure event route, and there's not going to be another checkpoint for the next few kilometers. Yeah, I really had to budget the checkpoints here quite immensely. I think this route is the best proof that we need more checkpoints in the game. I need at least 50 more in order to make this work nicely. I think more like 70 more, so 120 would be somewhat appropriate. I could see myself going for 150, but I don't know. For some parts of the route, I could reuse some of my older routes, like the switchback rally stuff, which we still haven't done the event with. But in the end, I ended up deleting a lot of the checkpoints, even on the shared parts of the route, because it's just so long and I need so many checkpoints in so many other places. But yeah, the limitations right now, 240 horsepower V8 or weaker. And I think that's a reasonable one. It's still very good for a lot of vehicles that can handle the power. So it's not like totally overpowering everything, but it's also a nice pace to make this not take an entire hour or something. So far I've gotten lap times in around the 38-minute range. So yeah, that's quite hefty. Also, I want to make this video to talk to you guys about a few things. So first up, my uploads recently have been really not regular. Partially due to me taking a bit of a break off from the game in total. I mean, I've been playing on this server here, but there has also been like a week or two where I just really didn't log on. Didn't really feel like it. And sometimes just taking a break is actually quite healthy. And I mean, I'm still in the tester group, so once we got the next update to test things out with, I need to be back and motivated for that. Imagine missing one update due to PC problems and the next one due to lack of motivation. That would really kinda suck. But no, yeah, I definitely want to get my hands on the new stuff, test that out and all of that, and I would like to do so being revitalized, if you can call it that. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to not go off the road too much here. The car is overall handling pretty well, so it should be alright. Also, I'm making this video right now because I'm not really too sure if I'll be recording the actual run once the event happens. There's a good chance that I need to watch Hoki's stream in order to get the instructions and all of that for the coordination, and it would be kind of awkward for a video where basically I have his stream open in the background, you still hear what he's saying, and not being able to see his stuff, what's happening on his end in the same time. So yeah, I'm gonna have to see how I can handle that. So yeah, right now no real idea if I'll be making the actual event run into a video, but I'm definitely going to participate. Also, this took a few hours to put together, so at the very least I can get a video out of it. And besides that, I honestly find... shit, just drove completely off the road here. That corner caught me by surprise. Overall, I find driving this game pretty relaxing. So, yeah. Anyways, yeah, I've been away for a bit. Also, for the most part, when playing on the server, I don't really tend to record. Although, to be clear, I had something planned for today that I wanted to make a video on, and theoretically, I even got multiple out of that, but I'm not going to upload any one of them. This is basically me doing something else, but trying to talk about the same topics as doing those attempts, because nothing really panned out too well. But yeah, stuff like this can always happen. So yeah, I don't expect to get through here with a record time or anything. The best I can hope for right now is not to get any severe damage on the car and carry it over to the other island. We have some plans to put up some campies here and there at the gas stations, for example, so that if you get damaged, you drive up to the campy, you then just teleport over to an area that has a repair station, get your car repaired, and then teleport back to the campy to keep on going. Theoretically exploitable, but we are working off a code of honor here, so that should be alright. It's fully night now. It's quite dark here. Maybe for the event I'll increase my moonlight brightness. That might be helpful. But for right now I'll have to make do with cars lights here. Which I also figured out to make a bit nicer with the new attachment system. So that everything looks a bit more organized and less janky. There are a few things that I've done with that system recently which I would really like to show you guys, but we'll have to see about that. Overall, I feel like I'm kinda cycling back to some of the cars now. So vehicles that I have on my main that I always wanted to come back and improve, I'm basically doing that here now. Since when I get them, I spend a lot of time with them. While on the other character I basically have so much stuff that it doesn't really always come natural investing a lot of time into any of these. Barely got it. But yeah, so basically a lot of the vehicles that were okay before now get a second glance first off, I already did all the attachment improvemements on my main character, so that's all sorted out, but especially when it comes to my handling tunes and all of that, there's a lot of refinement that didn't happen, he says as he spins out with this car, but to be clear, this thing, right now, drives a lot better than what he did on the other character. On the other guy I made the whole thing stupidly low, stupidly stiff, and this is right now a bit more rally course ready. But I think it also works in a wide variety of areas. And yeah, I'm going to be using this car because it's just stable as hell. I still remember the rocks here, I tried to get away from that side. But yeah, when it comes to these things, I'm really spending some time now. It kind of helps us having done the basic work with my main character beforehand, so I have a better basis to start off with. But now I can take this stuff a bit further and improve beyond what I had before. So that's really neat. And besides that, I also made a few silly things with the attachment system, which we may look at it at some point. To get back to another point that I just made, I talked about content that I already recorded but won't be uploading. The thing is, I wanted to do another Guangjin to Gappa bus route. But this time around, the idea was to go through the mud shortcut with the Lilliput. The Lilliput, of course, cannot do that at all. So I decided to just hook it up to my Brutus Wrecker, which is, of course, much more capable. And it's also kind of hilarious thinking that, yeah, imagine you get into a little safari bus in a remote town, and in order to get to the next town, that bus needs to be hooked up to a tow truck as part of the regular route in order to make it there. Kinda hilarious, and I would have been here for that. Except for some reason, after I finished the route, and I still have to watch it back to see when exactly it happened and to maybe get an idea on why it happened at all, I got back into the bus and my passengers were gone, so I couldn't really get anything out of that. And that just kinda sucks. And yeah, I tried doing another testing round, going in it with an SPT-1 trailer, so that's a small vehicle trailer. Again, being told by the Brutus. And for some reason the Brutus was barely able to get it up the shortcut to its waiting position while the trailer was empty. So that was completely useless and I immediately gave up on that. And then the thing that I ended up recording was just another regular bus run with the Lilliput. So yeah, that didn't really feel right because in the end I've done that somewhat recently and it wasn't any different than before, so what's the point of doing it again? So I'm doing this stuff now. If I can't figure out what made the passengers disappear the last time around, I might give this another shot with the Brutus because I think that was hilarious and I still would like to know if it would give me the same amount of money as if I go around the regular way, which is all the way up to Baiyang and then back down to Gappa. So basically going from the center east of the map to the very north and then back down to the center. I mean the center of the island, I mean, not Jeju Island, that's not involved here. Oh god. Realized the lane that I should have maybe braked a bit more. But yeah, we are getting very close to the next gas station now. I should maybe check how far I can get without refueling at all. I've been running this with a 320 horsepower engine, and that always needed a stop at Baiyang. But with this now, that's really not necessary anymore. But yeah, this thing still drives like a dream. And yeah, we are going to shortcut or shortcut, whatever, through the gas station here. I would have liked to have a checkpoint at the actual intersection there, but in the end, almost everybody needs to go through the gas station. How do you make that work? I don't want people to go into the gas station and then come back onto the road and take the corner like that. And if I extend the checkpoint into the gas station, people are always going to go for that. So, yeah. No real good way of doing this, in my opinion. Try to not hit the bus there. Okay, medium. Next leg of the journey. Yeah, I think I already talked about me wanting to try out the next update once that becomes available for private testing. There is a lot of stuff going on the Trello already, and I would like to talk a bit about that because the next update is going to deliver dollies. And dollies, for those who don't know the term, that's basically for semi-trucks and trailers, or more like for the trailers. Little trucks that just have the fifth wheel, so it's just a set of wheels or two. Yeah, one axle, two axle, whatever, with a fifth wheel on top and another tow attachment. So you can basically turn a semi-trailer into a regular trailer that can fully stand on its own without the landing gear. And these are likely going to be hooked up to different rigid trucks, like for example maybe that Dumpy over there. I fully expect that to be the case for the Atlas series, and we've already seen a few things like that on the Trello. So there are going to be shorter box trailer versions. Come on, please don't spin out. I played around with the differentials a lot in order to make sure that I can maybe pull things straight again, or at least not completely lose it. With the old way the car used to handle, if it started spinning out, that was basically the whole thing gone. Jeez, this feels so dangerous. I cannot see nearly far enough when... not nearly far, or as far as I want to. Blah. Jesus Christ. Sentences. Yeah, but it's getting bright again. Sun is coming out. I'm really happy about that. Oh god. So yeah, dollies are going to be a thing, more rigid box trucks. There's a version for the Cuda and one for the Atlas as well. Which is kinda neat, although from what I've seen the Cuda looks a bit short. Might just be the picture, but yeah, we'll see once we get them in game. I would like to have one of these American rigid trucks like what we have in GTA 5 with the Pounder. It just basically a semi-truck front with a really long box in the back, and it looks amazing. Should also have high capacity. Not exactly like a semi-trailer, but definitely closer to that than anything else we got in here. I have to see if something like that ever comes. I would have suggested it for another edition later down the line, but honestly I couldn't really find a real life counterpart. And I'm not going to ask them to put a GTA vehicle into this game. That's not how that works. Or just base it off the GTA vehicle. Anyways, yeah. So yeah, dollies are going to come. Another cool thing that I've seen on there is them adding an RGB color wheel to the light strips, so the underglow stuff, which is a highly requested feature which I've also been looking forward to for a while now, since I've seen it on the Trello. I mean, right now you can theoretically overlap multiple ones in order to get a different color, but that's also kind of limited, and especially with only 10 attachments possible per car, it's not really something that I would like to do, because usually I got better things to attach to the vehicle instead of multiple glow sticks in the same area. But yeah, it's cool that that's going to be an option and should make a few things a bit nicer. I remember especially for my gas station tanker trucks, like especially my Limousine tanker, I like having a light in there in the back. I don't want it to be like a full light attachment because that's just way too bright. But the underglow doesn't really have a color, so if I could get a white underglow in there, that would be perfect. So yeah, stuff like that I'm really looking forward to. Besides that, there's also possibly something for Guangjin coming from what I've seen. Not entirely sure if it's the town itself or something else, but if we get something there that gives us the reason to deliver pallets into that area, I would really be down for that. First up, getting another zone into that area would be nice. I think there's potentially something for town zone additions here. But yeah, another zone would be nice. I really don't like how many people think that the island that I just left is called Gappa. Gappa is the town, Oldly is the island, but the game doesn't really give you the name Oldly all that much. So, yeah. If you're just looking at the town bonus, then it's understandable why people think this is Gappa. Oh yeah, I forgot, with this version I only have a 5-speed transmission. The 320 engine version has the 6-speed. And due to the slight chassis damage which I'm now increasing... Fuck! Yeah, that made it so that I cannot even really reach top speed anymore. I think it's pretty much dialed in otherwise, and I would rather keep a bit of a buffer there so that I don't end up overheating on the bridge. So I think that's pretty good as it is right now. Me getting the damage there was unfortunate, but it doesn't really matter too much because we are going to come up to a repair station soon, so we should be good there. The engine damage, radiator and full body damage, that's not really amazing. I could have gotten to that point there, just go across the field there and just come back, but no, I'm going to wait until the next one, which is a bit closer to the road. Again, gotta make sure to not completely overheat until then. And here we go. Can I just scoot across here? Yep. Oh, dang it, I needed to do that sooner. Okay, note to self, avoid the parking car destroyer things there. The bumper whackers. A bit of an awkward return, but we are back in business. And again, something like that can always happen, so not too much of a problem. Driving right into town. Or more like to the edge of it. That's the only part where we ever are going to see Gangyang downtown over here. Because now it's up to Jeju. But overall I would say this is at least going pretty well. Yeah, another thing I can quickly talk about, there's something that I did on the server recently with my main character, which I don't really use here, which made him quite perfect for what I had in mind here. We had the idea floating around for getting a second corporation going here. Usually we mainly only allow companies, so everybody can have a few AI drivers around as long as they stay within the vehicle limit. But for the corps there was only really Hoki's main one, which a lot of people are part of, and that's all pretty cool for co-op stuff. But yeah, the idea was to maybe get a second corporation, which is really only there to provide campies to remote locations. So there's a lot of places that obviously don't have any properties that you can buy, so teleporting there is tough. And yeah, I decided to offer up to just use my main account for that. After all, I have a few millions to spare. I actually like being a bit broke on that, so that I have a reason to play on that again. And yeah, I ended up buying 10 campies, making the corporation, and now we have tactical campers over here. There was maybe an incident where making that corporation led me to having to delete my own company, but I made a backup, so yeah, I got that back. Also made a feedback post about that whole thing, because for some reason if you make the corp first you can still have your company afterwards, since one is server bound and the other one is player bound, or more like character bound. But if you have a company that you can use in any type of session, and when you dare to make a corporation for one server, then your company is gone. Okay, I'm gonna drive it risky here. I'm going to go up the mountain without refueling. Should be fine. At the worst, we are going to need to refuel at the top of the hill. But yeah, it's now time for the toga part. I've tried this with different vehicles, and especially the Stella, that's something that I need to look into, because last time I've driven this, it didn't feel good at all. Especially up the hills, it just didn't really behave. Spun out constantly on the dirt road parts. So not really an enjoyable ride at that point, but I guess I can maybe try and fix it. We'll have to see about that. There have been a few handling changes here and there, so maybe those play into that whole thing. But yeah, this is feeling nice. This is the right amount of control and power for me. This is driving really good. To be clear, the Stella was using the stronger V8, so that may have been part of the issue. 240 horsepower is definitely a bit more manageable. It shouldn't be that much of a difference maker where it's completely uncontrollable with 320. Also, I wish I had more checkpoints here. I'm not always sure if there aren't any skips in this part. I tried covering up the ones that really felt egregious. But with 50, there's really only so much I can do without splitting this into multiple tracks, and yeah, that wouldn't have worked for the event at all. There we are in the snow area, no problem with all-wheel drive. And I think I might actually just try and do the entire race without refueling, which is kinda nuts. I'll have to look up the fuel tank size, but I think the Enfo, due to coming with a 320 horsepower V8 by default, it might have a disproportionately sized fuel tank compared to the others. That basically all have small bladder syndrome compared to this one. But then again, I think the 240 horsepower engine, it just doesn't drink fuel anywhere near as much. I definitely noticed with a few vehicles that going for the lower power option really saves you fuel. Come on. Make it around the turn. Doesn't matter how much the tires are screeching, they are not going to let me down here. I hope. Okay, maybe actually drifting is a way to go here. Feels more natural. But yeah, we are actually coming towards the end of the road now. Believe it or not, this is not going on. This is not gonna go on for forever. And the last few percent are going to happen real quick because I needed so many checkpoints around Anson. Just so that people don't shortcut through some of the corners, especially the chicane bit. Alright. And now we are getting low fuel warning. Yeah, that should be okay. We made it this far with that amount of fuel. We should be able to do the rest as well. I'm trying to think back if I forgot about anything here, but yeah, I think we are good on most things that I wanted to talk about. I also want to do another run of this exact route, but using the Lobo, or the Vroomba as I like to call it. I actually recently went back to trying to make that run better as well. It may have been something to do with the handling changes. but that thing was really tough to control. Now I softened the suspension a little bit and immediately just so much better to handle. Yeah, honestly, driving in this game, if you have a well set up car, a nice road, it's so much fun. Yeah, just coming through. Gonna take that corner there. And here we are back on the highway. Should be alright with that amount of fuel. Just going to be one lap around Anson and then we are basically done with it. I mean, we are absolutely done with it. Because that's the end of the track. Right at the start finish of the speedway track. And you know what? If I wanted to, I could make this thing so much longer. But yeah, I don't really want that. I don't think anybody would want that. But theoretically, if I had the checkpoints and got tasked with extending the route beyond what we have already, I could do the same thing as on Anson Hybrid, where the entrance and the exit is a bit separated from each other. Then just go out to the little convenience store on the other end of Anson Island to rejoin back on the ring road, get back on the highway, and then drive down the coastal road of OG Island all the way down to the quarry. And then take the most complicated route to the bottom of it. That would be the end of the event. So if I need to make this 1 hour long and I get approximately 200 more checkpoints, I can do that. And we might just barely make it across the finish line. Okay, here we go. About to hit the last turn. I'm curious how long this is going to go now. I can see the time already on my recording software, but I had a bit of a preamble, so let's see what it actually comes out to. Less than 37 minutes. I would say this is pretty good. I had slower times with stronger engines, so this is actually... Yeah, I'm impressed. I'm happy with this. Screenshot. And we are done. I mean, at this point I can also just read out how large the fuel tank is, because they are basically empty. So when I refuel, I basically get the entire capacity of it. But yeah, that's Hoki's Grand Tour, or what did we call it? The Goliath. Okay, apparently the fuel tank is 100 liter and we are down to 1.5. Seems alright. Don't see anything wrong with this. I can do this in the event. Any slight issue, just getting damaged a bit earlier to increase the drag and therefore the fuel consumption by a tiny amount and I'm completely running out in the end, but imagine just coming around here, other people are already in the finish area, and I'm just limping across into the track and running out of fuel before making the lap. That sounds like something I would end up doing. Anyways, you know what, since I already talked about the attachment system a little bit, let's go through a few highlights here. I made my own version of Miata roll cage. I know other people have done it, it's on the workshop, but I want to give it a try myself, so this is my interpretation on the whole thing. Ended up using two things in the front here in order to be able to make them droop out a little bit to the outside so that they're not standing over too much. Also, I always like having a full cross in the back just for symmetry's sake. And overall, what can I say? I'm really happy with it. Of course, in terms of use cases, I mean, if I want to read something, I get enough light now. I would still, of course, prefer if we got a roll cage option for this car and could use it like that. Because while it definitely kind of works, I think the parts are still looking a bit too clunky. And also with how long they are, the ends don't really line up all that well. But I want to make sure that I don't just clip through the door with everything here just to keep the window clear. So yeah, it looks pretty good when you are sitting in the car and looking at it in first or third person. First person, bit worse for wear, but also still alright. This is actually one of the in-house models with a really basic interior. But yeah, professionally made one by the modelers would be much better, obviously. But I think this thing works for what we can do right now. This, by the way, from my other character, the Fortem Rallycross. Love this thing. Works amazingly well off-road and looks the part. I took up a large loan on this character in order to get it, and it basically bankrupted me. I couldn't help it, I needed it on this one. What else do we have? Again, the Enfield GT, that's the one with 320 horsepower. This one that we just driven, 240. Nothing new on the Neos, apart from me also now having the Rallycross version. Made me a little coma over here. So that's inspired by one of the old Mini Cooper rally cars. Love this thing. Wouldn't use it in the event, but overall it's pretty neat. What else do we have here? I'm in the small car category that explains a few things. Panther, yeah, that's the bus that I wanted to show you guys. Technically, it's not really different from the one that you've seen before, the purple, black, blue kind of thing with a psychedelic paint job. This time around, I want to go for a bit more like a camouflage down at the bottom. Really make it look like a safari bus, because, well, that's basically what it is when it tries to get out of Guangjin. And also the lights on this thing are superb. Regular looking lights for when you are out of the area. But if we go for high beam, we get the full arrangement in the front. Basically giving me like 180-degree light cones up at the front. So not just straight up, but also to the left and right. Let's see if I can find a darker area around here to really show you guys what I mean. Because of the floodlights over here, it's not that apparent. But yeah, right here you can see that the cones are actually quite a bit extended through the little red ears up there. So that's pretty neat. If I need to go into reverse, I also have a few other lights here. The ones at the bottom, both front and back, by the way, are for these bridges that don't have a full deck. So where you basically have to hit the rail. Just to make that easier to line up at night, I decided to put these lights on to really highlight that stuff. It helps a little bit. Maybe it would be better if and that's another thing to think about once we get the RGB color wheel for the underglow. I would then maybe just put that as underglow below it, as close to the wheels as possible. As it is right now, I could have maybe done that, but it felt a bit weird. And also, just for fun, interior light for when I open the door at night. Interior, exterior light. So yeah, that's kind of the main thing here. Also, Hoki has been testing out how long the cones stick around. He placed that down on Sunday, today is Tuesday, so yeah. I was fairly sure before that the stuff sticks around until the server restarts, so I see that confirmed, which is nice. Also, and this is from a recent trend in the community, I just had to make a service Voltex. You can already see something in the back there, and it's going to become very apparent why that's around in a moment. Interior light turns on the siren, and just regular lights turn on the front lights, even the one on top there. But the stuff in the back, and I think this is something that Smitty did once, or did first, at least I got it from them as an idea. Attaching the lights to the tailgate, that's such a brilliant thing. And yeah, of course, they are attached to my indicators. How cool is that? So to be clear, the idea is definitely taken from somebody else. I think it's Mitty. But the execution here, this vehicle, I built up myself. But I don't think it's something that I would have come up on my own if it wasn't for the inspiration. And by inspiration I mean I basically copied that one. Also, maybe it's time to knock over the cone and see if it sticks around afterwards. That's something that has been mentioned before and I think should be tested. Okay, let's quickly check anything else here. I did upgrade the Vroomba, but nothing really too crazy. Oh yeah, finally got myself a Brutus tanker. Basically as a pit vehicle, so this is loaded up with regular fuel instead of diesel. Diesel is in my Jimusi tanker. Most of the lights are copied over from the other Brutus, so that's all the stuff in the front here. There is a bit going on in the back there. You may already see it. But yeah, if I once again turn on the interior light, we get a nice little cone from the top, and I mean, how cool is that? The thing swinging upwards is definitely helping out a lot in order to make like a street light, basically. And also, yeah, just a few light strips down in here. Again, if I could, I would make them white, but as it is right now, I think blue is the next best option. Maybe I would make them slightly yellowish or something, like a really warm and nice light. We'll have to see what we can do once the next update comes around. But yeah, I think that's gonna be everything from my end for this video. The one thing I will say though, I kind of wish there was an option to use some of the parts of the workshop schematics for similar vehicles, like the lights and everything. Same coordinates between this Brutus and the other one. I had the other one side by side and was copying over the exact coordinates for everything. Same with the Golema, same with the Atlas. I wish we could do it a bit easier. That would be really, really nice. Anyways, 15-minute video, a bit longer than I expected, but hey, I wanted to show you guys some cool stuff in the end at least. So thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed and see you guys next time. Until then, have a good one and bye bye.